Well, thanks for coming, guys. My name is Jackson. I'm the founder of Your Friends in Business. And today we're going to be talking to you about how to get the right clients, right? So I was fortunate over the last year to speak on over 100 stages all across the world, anywhere from the Bahamas, New York, Philly. I've been everywhere, and I've met a lot of very wealthy entrepreneurs, and I would get to talking to them and ask them, you know, how did you grow such a big company? How have you created so much success? And, you know, they gave me a lot of things, but I'd say the through line that I saw between everyone I spoke with was really about getting in the right rooms, right? I think a lot of times we work really hard to grow our business, but it's hard to grow your business when you're talking to D players, right? The real secret is figuring out, like, how do we actually attract A players, and how do we get A player clients, and how do we get A player team members? How do we really build an A player infrastructure, right? So this is really what I set off to learn, and that's why I started Your Friends in Business. And, you know, to summarize what we do, it's very simple. We broker deals, right? We use different mechanisms and strategies we're going to talk about today to build a Rolodex, and then we use that Rolodex to create connections between our network, and then you pay us when we send you business, right? So, little background on myself. I got myself started on social media back during the pandemic. I used to be in the music industry. I was actually a touring artist. I toured all over the world. I did stadiums. I did a lot of really cool stuff, right? And it was all because of social media. I started putting out content on TikTok. At first, I was absolutely horrible. I put out like 700 videos, and I think I had like 1,800 followers or something. It was really bad, right? But eventually, I started to learn how these algorithms work. I learned about watch time, shareability. I learned that there's all these tactics that you can use to increase the probability of your content performing. And once I kind of learned the code, I was fortunate enough to scale my account to, at my peak, I was doing about 12 million views a month. And we lost power. Good thing I know what I'm talking about. So, first lesson, if you're ever going to be talking on stage, know what you're talking about. Because then it makes it easy, right? So I got my start on social media, and I was getting tens of millions of views, and I was broke. I was literally so broke, I couldn't afford car insurance. Anyone ever pull up to a traffic light and you get all nervous because like a cop pulls up even if you're not doing anything wrong? I was like, every time I see a cop, I would get scared and like go park until they pass me. That's how broke I was, right? And the reason I was so broke wasn't because I didn't have attention. It wasn't because I didn't have leads. It's because I had the wrong leads and I was not charging enough. I would charge $50 an hour for consulting, and I was consulting for broke SoundCloud rappers borrowing their mom's credit cards. Right? So I'm sitting here getting all this traffic and wondering like, okay, I'm good at marketing. Why am I fucking broke? Right? And so what I learned was I hired a mentor, and what he taught me was you need to go high ticket. You're not charging enough for your services. So I went from charging $50 an hour, I bumped it up to $2,500, which was like, at the time, really hard for me to do because I couldn't even fathom that much money, right? And I got 12 people on a call, and I made $7,500 in a single month, which was more than I had made in like the last 3 months, right? And then he's like, you should up it again. There we go, see? That's why you gotta be ready. And he told me to up it again, and so I upped it to 5. I booked 32 calls the next month, and I closed 6 clients, and I made more in a single month than I'd made the whole year before, right? And so the first part of understanding how do we attract the right clients is understanding what are the KPIs that actually lead to revenue generation, right? At the time, I was chasing vanity metrics. I was chasing views, I was chasing followers, I was chasing likes, and I got a lot of them. But what I really wanted was, what I really should have been chasing was conversations with my target market, right? That is the KPI that you need to focus on. How hard is it for you to get your target market to have a conversation with you, right? So that's things like how many DMs you got, how many book calls you have, how many referrals you were sent this week. If we can shift our focus away from trying to pretend to be successful and actually focus on what we're all chasing, it's business. And that comes from focusing on conversations with your target market, right? So I did that, and I was able to scale that company to 30 grand a month. And then I learned the new lesson we all learn as we start to grow as entrepreneurs, that getting clients is much different than building an infrastructure that can sustain fulfilling them.
That's right.
Right? And I had to go on this whole journey of figuring out like this new skill set of how do you build systems, how do you build checks and balances, how do you build SOPs, how do you hire people, how do you train them. And so after that business, I launched my next one, and that became the new level, the new dragon I had to beat, right? And I scaled this big team. I was generating 50 plus grand a month in revenue, but again, I was only taking home like 4 or 5 grand, right? Why? Because I built an infrastructure that wasn't sustainable because I was hiring D players and spending so much time trying to train them how to be A players that, you know, it just wasn't sustainable, right? So that's when I went back. I had to learn the next lesson I learned, which was the reason why I was hiring D players is because I couldn't afford A players. And the reason I can't afford A players is because I'm serving D players. If you pay me 10 grand to help you with marketing and you have 15 grand in your bank account, I'm probably not going to be able to get you very good results, right? And that's what was happening. I was getting all these people that pay me 5 to 10 grand, and they're basically putting all their chips on red, and they're like, okay, now go blow up my business. And I was like, well, I don't care how good of a pilot I am. If you give me a 20-foot runway, I'm going to crash your plane, right? So that's what led me into the speaking world. That's what led me into, you know, trying to get around wealth. And once I got around wealth, what I learned was, you know, essentially you need to attract A players, right? Both for your business, but also as your clients. So, you know, how do we actually do that? And I would ask all these people, how do we attract warm referrals? And, you know, essentially what they told me is it's all through JV partnerships, right? If I send Alanis a deal and she does business and I can take a cut on that, I want to send her another one. And she's going to send me a deal and do the same thing. And it's just about establishing these JV partnerships with bigger and better players, right? So, you know, if we look at like how do we actually do that, essentially there's 3 ways that we do that, right? And there they are right there. So the first part of our strategy is events, right? So like I mentioned, I did a combination of throwing and speaking. I don't need it. I know what I'm talking about. Yeah. So the first part of that is events, right? So, you know, at Your Friends in Business, we actually put on events. We're having our event tonight. So who here is coming to the Your Friends in Health event tonight? You should all raise your hands. So all you have to do to get a ticket for the event tonight is don't text the word friends. That's actually not the right one. You're going to text the, I'll show it to you at the end, a code you can get to get an invite to the event, right? So, you know, what I learned with events and essentially our strategy with the Your Friends in Business events is we'll put on an event in a specific sector. So for example, tonight is Your Friends in Health, right? And what I learned is the easiest way to get, you know, people in the room is you know, to attract the right audience is you need what is called a lead magnet, right? What's something you can give away for free that someone wants that gives them a reason to give you their information and want to do business with you, right? And so from my experience of, you know, sending over 1.7 million outreach messages, running over 1,000 ads, you know, getting 300 million views online, speaking at 100 stages, I've tested every lead magnet you can possibly think of. And I've seen everyone else test theirs, right? And the data I have is one of the single greatest lead magnets you can use is inviting someone to an event, right? And we see it here. Half the room raise their hand, they're going to our event. Guess what? That means my lead magnet is working, right? Why? Because you're already doing that. You're already looking for events to go to, right? So if you can get in the right rooms, you know, you can start to create these relationships. And so what I learned is if you put on your own events, it's a very effective strategy to attract the right people, right? Now, what I learned about event promotion is if you're relying as the sole person who's responsible for filling that room, you're going to burn out. The secret to putting on events, you know, getting 50 to 100 of the right people in the room is getting everyone else to promote it. Right? It's getting Alanis to bring 5 people. It's getting Justin to bring 5 people. It's getting Brian to bring 5 people. If each of us know 5 to 10 good people in our network, right? So if we can all collectively work together to bring them in the room, then now it's very easy to curate a sustainable strategy without having to go spend tens of thousands of dollars to get 50 to 100 of the right people in the room. And the reason why we're going all in on events is because I believe the pendulum is about to swing heavy. So if we look at what happened back during the pandemic, everyone moved online. Zoom became the biggest platform in the world, right? Why? Because, you know, we're all stuck inside. And so I think that put everyone into an online infrastructure and swung everyone online. But what's happening now is with AI, Now, who has seen these Sora videos coming out on AI? Right? Has anyone seen some where you're like, damn, is that AI? Like, it's getting really good, right? Not just that, they have face scanning technology right now where we could be on a Zoom call and you think you're talking to me and I'm actually some dude in the Philippines and you can't tell, right? And AI is the worst it's ever going to be. So what's going to happen is we're going to move away from trusting people online. And the only thing that we're actually going to really value and believe is in-person connection. Because you can't replace this. You can feel my energy. You can look me in the eye and you know that I'm who I am. Right? So it's not about moving away from AI. It's about leveraging AI to build in-person community. Right? So that's what we're going all in on. And so what we do is we do these in different sectors. So tonight we're bringing out a bunch of people in the health industry. Right? That's Your Friends in Health. Last week we did Your Friends in Finance. Next month we're going to be doing Your Friends in Real Estate, bring out a bunch of people in the real estate industry. We're going to be doing Your Friends in Philanthropy on the 14th. We're going to do a toy drive. We've already partnered with a couple people, including Danny, was this your 7th year?
6th year.
6th year, right? So he already has a good infrastructure. We have our other friend that was the high up at a big toy company. He's bringing out a bunch of toys. We're all coming together and bringing out a bunch of people for that, right? So these events become very sustainable, and we're putting them on all the time. And the other lead magnet that I found converts like crazy is podcasts. So who here has a podcast? We got a couple. By the way, if any of you guys are Christian entrepreneurs looking for a podcast, we got Brian in the room. He runs the Christian Influencer Convention, and they have a podcast. So definitely go talk to him if you're Christian and want to share your testimony about how that helped you grow your business. Definitely a good guy to chat with. But essentially, that's a great example right there of a podcast lead networking. He is putting on events just like I am. He's looking to attract good people to his events. So instead of going, hey, come, pay me money, he provides value for this. Hey, let me give you a platform, right? So it's a much more organic way to connect with people that's authentic and providing real value up front and giving you a chance to actually connect with someone versus what most people do is it's like a drunk guy. Like people sell like they're a drunk guy at the bar trying to get laid, right? They got no game and they just walk up to a bar and try to kiss a girl before they even introduce themselves. You know what I mean? You gotta wine and dine them a little, like get to know them a little, ask them where they're from, right? And so that's what podcasts do. Instead of us going like, hey, I'm Jackson, buy my shit, right? You're like, hey, I have a platform, let me get to know you and create content you can use to get your message out there, right? And then from there, if you can simply get every podcast guest to give you 2 referrals at the end of the episode, not for your business, but for your podcast, 1 turns into 2, into 4, into 8, into 16, 32. It starts to compound and it costs you $0. Right? So we use a combination of these events and podcasts to build this Rolodex. And they're synergistic. We use our events to promote our podcast, which, by the way, I have a podcast too. If any of you guys want to come on, just text friends to 26786 and we can hop on a call, and I'd love to have you on the show. Right? But we also use this as a chance to build our network, build our referral pipeline, and when we bring those people to our events and use the events to attract their community. So it creates this compound effect, essentially this flywheel between these 2 strategies. And guess what? If you do these strategies right, you can do it for much cheaper than other forms of marketing. And it's very sustainable. And then from there, leveraging these 2 lead magnets, now it just becomes how do we get those lead magnets in front of people, right? Well, after I ran my social media channel, unfortunately, it got banned. And overnight, I lost my whole audience. I went from getting 10 million views a month to getting 10 views a month. You okay? Yeah. And so when that happened, I had to pivot and I had to find other ways to generate leads. So that's when I got into outbound. Initially, I built a big team, like I was mentioning earlier. And I was just burning through commission-based sales reps because no one wants to do cold outreach. And so I looked into it, I'm like, there has to be a better way. And that's when I learned about building automated AI outbound systems. So for example, we have our event, Your Friends in Real Estate, on December 4th. Well, I have scrapers that can scrape all 15,000 real estate agents in Henderson, Las Vegas, and Summerlin. I can get their email, their phone number, their social medias. Then for each one of those touch points, I can automate reaching out to them at scale. So for our events, not only are we, using the sponsors to bring people, but we have thousands of invites a day going out to our events. And since we can get a lot of specific data, we can be curated on bringing established business owners to our event because we already know they are one before we invite them, right? So that's something we help people do. And like I said, if you're going to do outbound, I tested every lead magnet, every call to action you could think of. And what I found is the two best ones that work, events and podcasts. So we use outbound systems, but instead of reaching out, like you guys see these messages on Instagram when people are spamming you and it's like a bot account, you're like, I am not clicking on whatever you just sent me, right? But if you got a message and it was like, hey Justin, I see you're, I'm not sure if you're free tomorrow night, but we're actually having an event with a bunch of established business owners. It's going to be an open bar and free gourmet food. If you want to come out, we'd love to have you. Here's a link, right? If Justin's already going to 3 to 5 events a week, he's like, screw it, I'll just go check it out. And guess what Justin's going to do? He's not going to go alone, so he's going to bring a friend. And then this is how it starts to compound, right? So we use these 3 strategies together to essentially create this flywheel. That builds our Rolodex, and then where we make our money is by either installing these systems into your business or simply just brokering deals. Every event we do, we add another 100 to 150 people to our Rolodex. And then if we send you a client on an affiliate agreement, pay us. As long as that relationship is good, anyone that needs your stuff, we're going to keep sending to you because that's how we make money. So that's a little about me, but I'm going to bring up our next speaker. This woman is an absolute badass, right? So I thought I was cool in my 100 events. Okay, she's done 174 in the last 12 months. Make some noise for that, right? That's crazy. And not only that, but she runs JLM Lux Group. They put on a ton of events. They work with 82 different A-list celebrities. She's doing this at a whole nother level. And enough about me. Make some noise for Alanis.
Hi, how's everyone doing today? So my name is Alanis Rose. I own JLM Lux Group. I co-founded this company with one of my best friends. I have been an event coordinator now for 4 years, and when we created JLM, that was a stepping stone into something higher than what we had previously been doing. I started my company when I was 25 years old, doing luxury bachelorette parties. One video went viral online, and that turned into me doing a bachelorette party for the Real Housewives of OC. From there, I got put on MBAs, and I started building my network of bachelorettes. I knew that that's something I've always wanted to do was bigger than that, so I started applying for different networking events out in LA. When I started applying to them, I was getting denied left and right, so I said, why not pivot, right? So I pivoted, and instead of going in as a business owner, a small business owner, I went in as a cocktail waitress. And that is how I got my foot in the door to a lot of these celebrities. So with JLM Lux Group, we are more than just luxury sales. We sell everything from F1 cars to jets, yachts, talent management, and events all combined in one. And it is just 2 women running this company solely by ourselves currently. So if you're in the market for any of those, we're more than happy to have you. Or if you're looking to learn how we sell these items, we're happy to tell you as well. So one thing about me is how I got my foot in the door. It just happened to be that I had a viral video. It wasn't who I knew or anything else. Once I had that viral video, I knew that it was going to be bigger than just myself, and that when people start coming to me, they might come to me for funding, Justin. They might come to me for connections, Jackson, or they might come to me for advertisement, Danny. So the biggest thing I've learned is when you're putting yourself in that door, don't go in it alone. Go in it with someone else. Go in it with a network that you believe in and a network that is strong behind you. Because when you have a network behind you, I might not be able to get a sell out of someone, but I might be able to give that sell to Danny. And then Danny can build his network from there. Or I might be able to give it to Jackson. When you become an entrepreneur, a lot of people do me, and that's never how you're going to be successful. If you're not in this to have your people win and your people be successful with you, then you're never going to break through. And I truly believe that's how I became a 7-figure earner, is because I didn't just bring myself with me, I brought other people with me as well.
So real quick, can you talk a little, with getting your foot in the door, like what are some of the ways that people can do that? Obviously it's nice having organic content, but like what are some of the other strategies people can do to create those initial connections?
So for initial connections, I went to every single networking event I could possibly get my foot into the door. Whether it was a private event, a invite-only event, and if I wasn't getting in through the door strictly from just getting the invitation, I was finding my way in the door. So whether that be going in as an atmosphere model, whether that was going in as a cocktail waitress, whether that was going in as someone's media team and just carrying a bag. So when you want to get yourself in that door, you have to be diverse. You might get told 12 no's, but you're going to get told 1 yes. And before you walk into that door, know who's in that room. Who are you looking for and who is your target audience? Are you looking to broker your own deals, or is this an event to broker your friends' deals? Because sometimes when you go to an event, it's not about you. It's not about you, it's not about your business, it's about the people that are in your circle. And when you start to look at that as a bigger picture, that you giving one of your friends a deal can send you 10 more. So my biggest advice when I say stepping in the door is make a place for you. Because there's always going to be a place for you, you just have to find out how to do it. And whether that is you finding that connection or you inviting someone that might know someone, that's still going to be a connection that you can make. So that's how I essentially got my foot in the door.
Let's go. Now, another big part of that is like, cool, so now we got our foot in the door, maybe we're talking to someone, we're in the right room. Now, how do we actually get their attention? Like, can you tell me about, like, once you got in this room, what did you do to actually foster that relationship? Why did they gravitate towards you versus someone else in the room?
So every time I walk into a room, I do two simple things. I already know who the person I'm looking for is and who I'm targeting. Does that sound crazy? Absolutely, but you have to be a little bit crazy in order to make it to the top, right? So I know who I'm targeting, and right when I walk into that room, I know exactly where they're going to be at and what their company is before I even speak to them. So when I go up and speak to someone, I introduce myself and I say, hi. I say, hi, my name is Alanis. I am with JLM Lux Group. I've seen on the invitation you have X, Y, and Z business. And that's how I start the conversation. Once I start that conversation, I immediately follow up with, this is my Calendly link. I would love to set a meeting with you. Do you have 30 minutes to give me either in person or on FaceTime? And I make sure I follow up with that meeting within 72 hours. Now, if they don't respond and I follow up within 24. Now, if I don't get a response in 24, I already have your email because you're on my Calendly and I have your number. So now I can easily just message you, right? So I can send a follow-up. If I don't get a follow-up, I'll do a cold call. Is it annoying? Sure. Does it look like you're being a pushy salesperson? Absolutely. But sometimes those cold calls and being persistent is really what gets your foot inside that door and gets you the business that you're looking for and that revenue you're looking for.
Yeah, and let me say something on that real quick too. It's like people are worried about being too salesy and they're like, I don't want to rub them the wrong way. But listen, if you don't message them, it's already a no. If you don't get them on the phone, it's already a no. You know what I mean? And I have so many people I want to do business with that I haven't replied to because I just am busy. But if they called me and I'm not doing something, I'm going to pick it up. You know what I mean? Literally right before this event, I was scrambling to get ready for our event over here, sending out some last minute invites, sent it to someone that was just like, maybe he wants to come. He called me and I closed him on a sponsorship for tonight, 3 hours before the event, because I'm just doing a couple of those last minute outreaches.
Yep.
Right? So just doing one more, like never feel like you're being annoying unless like they've clearly made it, obvious that they don't want to work with you, right? Until you at least get them to say like, hey, I'm not interested. Like it's already a no if you don't keep trying, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And a big thing that I'll say as a female, there's a lot of females in this room today, so I can speak to you guys directly. Being a female entrepreneur, it's not easy. You are fighting against a world of entrepreneurs where men have created this space. And since men have created this space, they're the one that set the standard. And being a female coming into that space, you now have to have a man's mentality to get inside those doors. And one of the biggest things that I learned straight away was your network is your net worth. If you're sitting down with 5-figure earners, that's what you're gonna earn. Until you actually break through to those 7-8-figure earners, you're never gonna be successful in the terms of where you wanna be. Now, if you're okay with only making 5 figures a year, awesome, that's where you're gonna stay stagnant. But if you're pushing yourself to be that 7-figure earner, you're gonna need to get into those rooms. You're gonna need to learn how to talk, you're gonna learn how to negotiate with people, and you're gonna have to start building relationships. Your relationships, being an entrepreneur, are genuine what makes your business. And if you're not able to have those genuine connections with people, you're not gonna grow. You might start in the beginning, but it's gonna be hard to have that longevity as far as a business owner goes.
Let's go. Well, thank you so much.
Of course.
Make some noise for Alanis real quick. Was that helpful? So I'm going to bring up our next speaker, but just so you guys know at the end, after Danny talks here real quick, Did everyone text Toto to 26786? Who here is in the raffle for the billboard? All right, so if anyone didn't get the memo, we're doing a raffle right now in this room. So you guys showed up to the right room. Who here saw the billboard truck outside? So that's this guy's right here. It's the largest billboard truck in the country. All right, make some noise for that. He made sure to let me know it was in the country, not in Vegas. He makes that very clear. Yeah, but for anyone that doesn't know, Danny was wanted to support Tech Alley. You know, we want to provide as much resources as we can for everyone here because we love this community. So we're doing a little raffle. If you guys just text Toto to 26786, we're going to pick one person in this room once this talk is done, and you're going to get some free time on the billboard truck. So now's your chance. I'll have it stay up here for a minute, but if you want to enter, now's your chance. Now, this guy I'm going to bring up, not only does he have the largest billboard truck outside, but he's worked with countless celebrities, from politicians to, you know, rappers. He has a nationwide billboard and mobile billboard network. He's worked with big companies at conferences. He knows how to get in the right rooms. So without further ado, make some noise for the man, the myth, the legend, my boy Danny.
Yeah. How y'all feeling today? Appreciate you guys coming out. We know it's like the last leg of the day. You know, everybody's tired. It's rainy out. Everybody wants to go home, lay on the couch, kick it. If I want to move this, just hit this.
That'll get you there. Just so mindful of the camera.
Yep, perfect. Yeah, anyway, so as Jackson was saying, so my name's Daniel Calderin. I'm the owner of Toto Marketing. We own America's largest digital billboard truck. We have 46 digital billboards here in Vegas, 200 Ubers and Lyfts that have rear window billboards, 18 hologram advertising backpacks for street teams. I really focus on being able to provide as much value as possible for my clients. So started this 4 or 5 years ago, right? It's funny that we're all three business partners because I started in the event industry, you know, and they're in the event industry too. It's funny how it works. So I used to manage music artists here in Vegas, used to do my own events, pretty much own a music management firm. And we had a project coming out, so I booked my billboard truck that I own now that you guys saw it out front. I booked it to help promote one of my artist projects. And I was right down the street from here, actually. We were waiting, you know, we had the album cover on the truck and whatnot. And when the truck pulled up, I had the biggest light bulb over my head pop up I've ever had in my life. And I was like, holy shit, I need that in my life. That is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And the guy who I had booked the truck from, the guy that actually built the truck originally, he's like a GC, he's always busy and stuff. He's like, well, if you like the truck so much, why don't you just buy it off of us? I was like, don't play with me, man, don't play with me. And I got really, really blessed with that because most people, as I'm sure most of you guys know, when you first start up a business, it takes like a year for the proof of concept to really like come into fruition and for you to really see like, oh wow, this is worth it, right? Because I was already in the music industry, I had a really, really blessed head start, right? I bought the truck for the first 8 to 9 months. I was already booked already, you know, pretty much from different artists in Vegas that were trying to advertise their music videos, advertise their projects, things like that. Very blessed of a head start to be able to do that. Well, from there, started acquiring other assets, you know, like the billboards. We have multiple trucks now, you know, and I slowly but surely started to build my network with digital billboard trucks nationwide too. So we have about 4 billboard trucks here in Vegas. We also have another 5 in Miami and another 2 in San Francisco. So we really have strategically placed them in locations to where we can operate on a nationwide scale, you know?
There's a clicker, by the way.
Oh my God, thank you. Let's see.
I forgot I had that.
Oh, sick. Yeah, so, yeah, I had to see what was next. Sorry for giving you guys a teaser. I was like, hold up. Anyways, I got into the outdoor media space because I really learned that building a business is all about positioning, right? I had my business, Toto Marketing, for the last 4 years, but about September last year, I made a really big shift in the branding of my business, and I learned that you can have a business and you can have a company, but if the branding of your business doesn't align with the positioning of where you want your business, how you want your business to be perceived, people are never going to take it seriously, right? And I wanted to help other companies be seen. And why I started, I don't want to say why, but once I started doing what I do, I learned really quick that I could give people that Mama I Made It feeling, right? Started working with artists, and their album would be on my billboard truck, and their face would be on the album, and it'd be artists that like aren't really big, that have a couple of hundred followers and whatnot. And let's say a group of like bachelorette girls would walk by and be like, "Oh, that's you guys on the truck? Can we get a photo with you?" Blah, blah, blah. And I learned that moment, I'm like, wow, I can really create that feeling for people. And it's a feeling that we all chase at some point in our lives. As a small artist that's really trying to grind, it's the starving artist mentality. To have a group of individuals that don't even know you, see you on the billboard truck, and within 20 seconds of knowing that that's you on the truck, they were like, "Oh, can we get a photo with you?" Because their perception of you when you're on that truck just multiplies times 10, right? And that's really is the power of brand positioning, and that's the power of outdoor media, right? So with that being said, that's why I do what I do, and that's why using outdoor media to position your brand and position your company to be perceived as a leader of the industry that you're targeting is one of the best surefire ways to make people take you seriously. So with that being said, I want to talk about the psychology behind outdoor exposure, right? Number one is repetition builds trust and brand recall, right? At the end of the day, McDonald's sells more food than any other restaurant, any other fast food chain in the whole world. We all agree upon that, right? Well, they still, in 2025, are the top 3 ad spenders in outdoor media in the entire world. They have digital and traditional billboards in every single major market in the world that they're in. Why do they do that? Because repetition builds trust, and they know that they have to. First, it's a 15-second attention span society that we live in. So you have to be consistently embedding your message into people's brains, and there's no better way to do that than really targeting them in the outside world. And when you're an up-and-coming brand, you need to be doing that as consistently as you can, because they've never heard of you. At the end of the day, if I'm going to go try to sell you insurance and you've never heard of me and you never heard of my company, who am I going to go with? You or Allstate? The people who I can't drive down the street without seeing a billboard or without seeing one of their commercials and things like that, right? So repetition builds trust. Physical visibility triggers a real business perception. And that goes back to what I was just saying. It's the idea that we're all hustlers, we all are trying to get to $1. But at the end of the day, if you don't build a brand and behind that brand really establish your message behind people's brains, people aren't going to trust you. And it really is as simple as consistently embedding yourself in people's heads. When it comes to outdoor media, the beauty of it, especially in such a market like Vegas, people really don't understand. Vegas is such a blessing because we are a very small market, but we're a very powerful market, right? We're not LA, we're not New York with 8 million people, right? But there's a lot of money here, there's a lot of people, the whole world knows about Vegas. And really, you look around, you ever hike to the top of one of the mountains at Red Rock, and you're like, wow, that's the whole valley? It's really not that big, For us to be world famous, it is a blessing, and it's something we have to take advantage of. Why I even say that with my talk is, outdoor media will help you establish yourself within a culture. So, when you guys think of a Las Vegas lawyer, who do most people think of?
Demopolis,
Nakvi, Bernstein, Nakvi, the people that are investing in the outdoor media, and that's why it's so powerful, especially in a small market like Vegas, a small big market like Vegas. I like to say, don't they say Reno's the biggest small city in the world? Yeah, the littlest biggest. Yeah, I like to say that Vegas is the biggest little city in the world, And because Vegas is so small, but they're so powerful at the same time, you really are in a position to establish yourself within a culture here. Like I said, when you're driving through Vegas and you see Nakvi, you see Demopolis, you see Bernstein, you see all these lawyers, they are established within our culture. You can't think, oh, You can't think about lawyer without thinking about Nakfi. You can't think about lawyer without thinking about Demopolis. And that's because they understood the power of outdoor advertising and the power of outdoor media. There's probably another 1,000, if not more, injury attorneys here in Vegas. But they invested and they are consistently embedding their message into our brains. You can't even go to the gas station without seeing them. At some point, you're just like, damn, that's overkill. But I love to see it. You know, it's a beautiful thing to witness. You know, especially just understanding the psychology behind it. It really is. And, you know, at the end of the day, a lot of people in my industry will say, well, what's the CPM? What's the cost per 1,000 impressions, right? And because I don't like to think that I'm fighting against social media marketing and things like that. I like to think the perfect marketing plan is a well-balanced marketing plan. But a lot of people in marketing directors and stuff, they get taught, okay, what's the CPM? What's the cost per 1,000 impressions? And when you guys see that big-ass billboard truck out front, you're like, I don't think it matters how much it costs. It's about the impact that it has on you, right? So I always tell my clients, it's not about the cost per impression, it's about the impact per impression. Because you can get 2 million views on social media, but what does that matter if I'm just going to scroll to the next reel and now I forgot about your company, you know? And then I'm scroll past and I'm forget about that one and that one and that one, because we do live in that 10, 15 second attention span society. Well, with that being said, you know, invest money in creating an impact, right? Not just in the amount of impressions, but in the impact that your impressions actually leave on people. You know, I'm sure that, I think the statistic is 67% of people remember the advertising that they saw on a mobile billboard truck throughout the day. You guys have to understand though, that's on a regular sized billboard truck, not America's largest billboard truck. So I'm gonna give it a couple percentage points up higher, and let's just say like 72%. But no, it really is about people remembering you when they need your services at the end of the day. And that is the beauty of outdoor media, is it leaves an everlasting impression. So these are the positives of how outdoor media positions your company for 7-figure growth. I'm so glad I made this, by the way. I would have forgotten all this. So yeah, it builds authority. Like I said, the positioning in your business with outdoor media, it positions you as a leader in your industry. In a world where there's so much competition, where it feels like no matter what hustle you find, there's a million other people that are trying to do the same thing that you do. Booking that outdoor media will position you as an authority in that industry. You're also able to reach more people. Outdoor media puts your brand in front of audiences beyond social media, digital ads, and what that does is it makes you feel like an actual tangible thing, right? And you see something on social media and you might think, oh, okay, that's really cool, but is it really tangible for me? But when you're on this outdoor media, when you're on the billboard trucks, when you're on the billboards and things like that, you're like, oh wait, I'm in real life, and so is this. We are one and the same. The only thing stopping me from acquiring that is me paying for it right now, right? I'm already in the car, I'm already on the road. Hell yeah, I'm gonna go hit up Tequila Tuesday now that I saw it on the billboard, you know? The third thing is it boosts conversions, right? It's not just about, like when I'm talking about social media, like I said, the perfect marketing brand is a balance. It's a well-balanced marketing plan. Digital or outdoor media will help you boost the conversions that you already acquired on, that you're already paying for on social media. It's not about choosing between one and the other. It's about having both and balancing that out, right? One of my favorite things to do, honestly, and one of the most beneficial parts about my services is you book a billboard truck, take a photo of the truck on the Las Vegas Strip, like, you got the clicker?
I don't think I have a picture of it on it.
No. Go back. It's right here in the middle. Right there. Take a photo like that, and now you run social media ads of your company on the billboard truck getting promoted in the Las Vegas Strip. What that does is it makes it priceless, it makes it eternal, right? You booked my truck for one day, yes, but now people don't know how many days, how many hours you booked the truck, you know? So you kind of take the benefit of both. You paid for the ad spend on the truck, And now you're paying for the ad spend of the photo of the truck on social media, and it becomes timeless. And the people's perception of that, they're like, oh shit, Becky's Cupcakes is getting promoted up and down the Las Vegas Strip every single day. They must really be doing the damn thing, right? And it's about creating that perception and creating that position in people's brains, you know? So yeah, realistically, to summarize all this at the end of the day, outdoor media builds authority and it builds positioning. And with all that being said, what it really is going to do is going to attract bigger opportunities. It's going to attract bigger clients because the positioning of your brand is going to be higher. You're going to be a leader within your industry, and it's about milking that and taking advantage of that.
Let's go.
And yeah, you guys, I appreciate you guys coming out. Like we said, it's the last leg. I appreciate Jaxon for having me.
You know what time it is?
Don't do that. Okay, don't do what I did earlier.
Yeah, you stole the mic from me earlier. I'm going to steal it back.
God damn it.
So, all right. So thank you guys so much for coming out. So, like I said, we're having the event tonight, Your Friends in Health. If you haven't got tickets yet, just text that number, that WFIH to 26786. That'll send you a link. It's going to be at 6 to 9 at the J&M Bar Lounge. So real quick, before we do the raffle, we just want to take the last part of it and open it up to questions. Does anyone have any questions they want to ask for me or any of the speakers? All right. What's your question?
I have a question about, there was something like you switched gears, something that you did that you switched.
Can you talk a little louder? Sorry, I can't hear you.
You just switched gears of, like, I don't know if it was getting your car or something.
Oh,
It was like a cliffhanger.
oh, you're saying how did I go from being broke to like, to what? What's the question?
No, it's something specific. I'm gonna have to rethink about it.
Okay, do you have a question about
I
that?
can ask you now.
Okay, yeah, no worries. What questions do we have about attracting a seven-figure network? Any of the things that speakers talk about? We're gonna open up to 3 questions and we're gonna do the raffle. We got one right there.
Okay, so some of the people here know me. Okay,
Yeah.
my one point of the thing is because I know exactly what you're saying, being broke and
Yeah.
giving a lot to a lot of people and
Yeah.
not being out there, right? But I branded myself here when I moved here myself, so
Yeah.
that was my first 2 years when I was in July. What you heard about?
Yeah.
Did it come back? Okay.
I went to one like a year or two ago.
Yeah, we had a one-on-one.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Not until you
Yeah.
start talking about it.
But
Was I there? No.
I don't know.
What's your question?
What's your question?
Yeah, let's not question. We can reminisce later. No, the question was probably similar to what you were saying on your pivot,
Yeah.
right? What made you say, finally, this is it? I need to go around
No
and
more?
do something different. Yeah.
So that, I think as entrepreneurs, that happens to us like every 12 to 18 months. Can anyone relate to that? If that happens to us every day as entrepreneurs. But I think what forces me to pivot at least is I had no choice. Right? And I think that every time we make a major pivot in our business, it's because there was a lesson we were supposed to learn from that business. Right? The first business, I learned marketing. The second business, I learned sales. The third business, I learned operations. Each time I pivoted, it was because I hit a new restraint in my business and I couldn't solve it and I ran out of money.
Got 2.
Right?
So I think also to add on to that,
Yeah.
because you were only charging $50 an hour
Yeah.
or whatever, you're like, well, I can't sustain this.
Yeah.
So then you upped it to what, 1,500?
2,500, yeah.
So then, and you said you felt bad that you were charging that or whatever. Does then how do you decide?
How do you get out of that?
How do you get out of that and decide that that's what you were?
I'll tell you
working
exactly
for?
how to get out of that. Provide 10 times the amount of value of what you're charging.
Okay.
So you know why I was charging $50 an hour? Because I was getting $100 value.
Right.
Right? But then I got better and I invested in myself and I learned and I put in work. And then I figured out how could I provide more value. So you know why it was $50? Because they were only working with me for an hour. So I was like, okay, $2,500, work with me for 12 weeks. Right? And then it was $5,000. It's like, you know, I'll help you with so much more. So the answer is the way you charge more is you always got to provide way more value than what you're charging. Right? And then what happens is we have this identity crisis of like, oh, am I worth that? And you know when that goes away? The moment you get one sale. When I got my first $5,000 scale, I was like, oh, it's $5,000. You know what I mean? And then I did that when I went to a $10,000 offer, and I did that with a $55K offer. And what happens is you realize that it's actually easier to sell the higher ticket packages as long as you're talking to the right person, right? And that was the whole point of this talk, is you need to be talking to the right person, because if you don't, then there's no way in hell you're going to sell them shit that costs a lot of money. Right? But guess what happens when I sell something that costs a lot of money? I have more margins to hire A players who actually do a good job. And then I have a better reputation, and that reputation leads to more referrals for my price at that point. And the truth is, a lot of these people, do you think someone that's worth $1 billion is going to be haggling over a Honda Accord? They're not going to buy it. They're like, show me cars that are $500,000 or more and I'll entertain them. So part of how much you charge is how much you value yourself. And so if you're not valuing yourself, you're subconsciously telling your clients that they shouldn't value you either, right? And so you can also leverage your pricing using something we call a price anchor. So let's say your main offer is 10 grand. Tell people it's 50. And then have an offer that's worth 100 that you charge 50 for. 1 in 100 might take you up on it, but now when you sell the 10, all of a sudden the 10K doesn't look too bad, does it? And you can still have a down sell for 5 and a down sell for 2,500 and a down sell for 500. You can still have all of that, but just know that I've found that the clients that pay me the most are the least headache. The clients that pay me the least are the biggest headaches. And the moment you give someone an inch, they'll take a mile. And the people that are broke will take everything because they're putting all their chips on you. And that's just not a reasonable expectation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cool. What other questions we got? I saw one over here. You got one?
Question about the billboard trucks. So,
Danny, get on camera. I'm trying to get you clips here.
so when you rent the billboard truck, I imagine some period of time to get it. You just have one of your drivers driving around. You tell them where to drive it.
Yeah, so every single client is different. You know, it depends on the demographic that you're looking to target, right? So some clients, they just want to be driving up and down the strip. Some clients want us driving around Fremont. You know, but during political season, I do a lot of political campaigns. So I'll be strategically targeting the voting booths, you know, or the area. If they're in part of Ward 2, I'll be targeting Ward 2, you know. So it really depends on what the client's goals are at the end of the day. We're not just going to mindlessly drive around. You know, we want to strategically have a route in place that's going to get your ad in front of your target demographics' eyes.
Let's go. All right, any more questions? We got one? Oh, Brian's got one. What's your question? I'm just
I just want to know from Atlanta because I'm a fellow.
Alanis? Yeah.
Alanis, sorry. What was the schooling that you went through to become such an awesome event coordinator?
So my background's actually in healthcare. So I have 5 degrees in total. So I have upwards to my bachelor's degree in health education. I have a marketing degree, which is my associate's, and I have a dual master's in business administration.
So because of all the combination of degrees that you have, you were able to formulate and have a good know-how to put it together?
I think more or less, I grew up with a father who was an entrepreneur. My father runs funeral homes. And I saw if he can sell a casket, I can sell anything, right? And you're selling death and you're doing pretty good at it, so like what makes me not be able to do the same thing? So when I started with events, I did it during the peak of COVID. I just kind of did it as like a, hey, this looks like it'd be cool and I want to get in the right connections with a strip. I did it because I was a partier, I'm not going to lie to you. So I did it because I was like, okay, if I throw these bachelorette parties, then I'm going to get free connections and then I'm going to get free dinners. And that worked, right? So I had a different picture behind my company altogether. And then once I learned that, wow, this is actually profitable. So when I first started my events, I was making anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 an event for a bachelorette party. Now I scale anywhere from, at minimum, $50,000 to the most I've ever made was $200,000. And that was all just from scaling my company. That's just all from scaling the different events. So honestly, with events, my biggest advice to you is find your niche and lock in on it. And right now my niche is corporate. So right now I own 68 events for F1. So, and those are what I'm hosting. So once you find like what your niche is, lock in on that specifically and build those connections. And the best way to do that is LinkedIn. Find them and bully them until they get you to talk to them. That's what I did.
All right, I have a question on that. What are you saying to these people on LinkedIn?
I'm very convincing. Very convincing first and foremost. So I have a prompt that I use. Use it for everyone. So I start off by introducing myself and what I do and how much deal flow I've been able to broker. Once I show them that I've been able to broker that deal flow and that I already have an established company, they're more than enticed to work with me. I got a deal with brokering F1 cars strictly because I sold one of the brokers and one of the CEOs in the building a piece of art. It was $400,000 and he wasn't looking to buy a piece of art, but I sold it to him. And he was like, if you can sell this, and I wasn't in the market, you could probably sell anything. And that's how I got that foot inside the door of selling F1 cars. So that is, again, my biggest advice is when you're going in, you're going to tell them who you are, what your company is, how much deal flow you've created, and what you're looking to do for that company. Tell them an event plan. I send them an event plan. I send them a 3-week event plan every single time I talk to someone. If they use that and they don't credit me, that's on me for not having them sign, right? But 9 times out of 10, they pay me for that event plan without me even having worked with them further.
Let's go. All right, we got time for one more question, then we're going to do the raffle. Who wants to take the last question? Going once. Going twice. All right, we're just going to do the raffle then. All right, so we have 16 opt-ins to the raffle. All right, filming this, Justin? Trying to get the ad for the next one. So I need someone in the room to pick a number between 1 and 16. Pick a number, between 1 and 16. 7. All right, drum roll.
Wait, I gotta pick. I gotta choose.
No, we got it.
Okay, you got it. Okay.
Hey, there we go. Drum roll, please. You're getting in my shirt, buddy. All right, drum roll, please. Number 7 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Who is 702-272-2732? Hey! So congratulations. You can just get with Danny after this. And if anyone is watching this video and you didn't come and you didn't win the raffle, then you need to come. Our next one is the 3rd Saturday of every month in the Vegas Theater Room, 2:45 p.m. Editor, clip that, throw it up, and we're done. Thank you guys so much. Yeah.